All right, welcome to a special edition of Superkickin with Steven and Greg, your favorite host right here of the wrestling podcast, Stephen A. 1181. The Greg one is over doing his thing. He usually has to work during the week, so he could not be part of this, but that is okay. We've got another fantastic artist to interview. We had an artist on last month, the dreaded dinosaur, and now we have artist AJ Moore, who I've had the pleasure of meeting twice at Squared Circle Expo, which I cannot speak highly enough. I every time I feel like I come on and mention about meeting wrestlers, AJ, I end up saying Squared Circle Expo. Go see it. So just a fantastic event. Glad to have you here. I know you're a busy person, but we can see that it looks like you're in your studio right now. So I appreciate you taking, or you're just showing off the fantastic Cody Rhodes artwork back there. But
Uh, I, well, it's a little bit of both. I have
yeah,
the Cody up there, but this is my studio. So
yeah, that's awesome. I love seeing that. That's what the other artist that I interviewed, he had the same thing going on. So it's kind of cool to see the behind the scenes, as it were. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. You know what you've been up to. You know, I know you're always busy with the expos and cons and trying to get ready for that. And then maybe we'll get into some more questions about where you've been and who you are. So just give us a little background about yourself and maybe what you've been up to lately.
well, I mean, I've been drawing ever since I was little. I've always been a fan of art and animation. I started drawing animated stuff, like Tom and Jerry and
Mhm.
anything that I saw on cartoon. And I moved into comics. Uh, always been a fan of that kind of stuff, and TMNT and Simpsons and all that stuff. Moving on into like Kim Possible and stuff, all the way up. So, and then of course wrestling. And I've been drawing a whole bunch of different wrestling pieces, along with some sports and other stuff. Like I'm working on some Star Wars stuff now over here
Yes.
that I can't show. But yeah, that's what I do. I draw a whole bunch of different
Did
things.
you take any lessons or did you just kind of look at something and just have that ability to kind of go at it?
Well, actually, it's more of like I gave myself lessons. I didn't take any
Mhm.
formal
Yeah,
classes
yeah.
on it.
Okay.
Like I used to draw from comic books,
Hmm.
like an artist that I know, Sam De La Rosa.
Okay.
He's out here in Texas. He did the art for Venom
Oh,
back in the
okay.
day. So the Venom comics that you see, that was him.
Hmm.
And I learned how to draw Venom from him, from drawing his Venom, and I learned
Yeah.
how to draw Venom. So it was just self-taught from different things. As far as any formal training, I've taken art classes when I was in the college level,
Hmm.
um, but it was for animation because I was an
Okay.
animator for a couple years. So that was fun.
Yeah. So what brought you into the wrestling aspect of drawing? Like, did you just think, hey, this is an untapped market? Or did you
Uh,
just kind of, you love to draw it? Like, how did you come up with that?
well, I would say the fans asked me to draw it,
Hmm.
and because I have been drawing stuff for years, but I only do wrestling for myself.
Hmm.
That's something that it was real special to me, so I didn't want to share that with anyone,
Yeah.
and I didn't want it to become work. I wanted to
That's
enjoy
what I
it
was gonna
because
bring up. I figured that's usually what happens, right?
right, because you'll start drawing, you know, X. I'll
Mhm.
draw this cartoon, and then it starts off fun,
Yeah,
and then the next thing you know, it's work.
yeah,
And then I don't want to see that character. I don't want to see anyone cosplayed as that character. I don't watch anything with that character on it. If I see something in the store with that character, I roll my eyes.
yeah.
That's how bad it can get.
Okay.
And I was so apprehensive about drawing wrestling because I didn't want it to become that,
Yeah,
like so many other things have,
yeah.
due to the nature of the business. But it hasn't, and it's been great.
I was gonna say, so what made you, you said the fans, was there, how did you get invited to an expo or a con, or how did you get into, how did you make this for a living?
Well, just going to different Comic Cons. I mean, I was
Okay.
doing before this. I was doing the animation thing for a
Yeah.
while, and then I was doing my own books
Okay.
and my own comics that I wrote, self-published. And some other artists was like, man, you need to get into the game and
Hmm.
see what you can do because you can draw. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So I just, I started with one or two, and along the as time passed, people, hey, well, do you like wrestling? Or someone will be coming in wearing an Austin 316
Hmm.
shirt, or something like, hey, you have any wrestlers? You have any wrestlers? You draw anything wrestling? No one draws wrestling. No one
Yeah.
likes it. And I was just like, well, sorry,
Okay.
I don't do it. I just enjoy it for myself. But then along the lines, I don't know what, I just feel like, what, I'll give it a try.
I was gonna say,
Um,
was there a moment that it clicked for you? Like, was there an
um,
expo or con, or was there, you said you had
uh,
somebody tell you, hey, you should pursue this, or was it just selling out? Was it,
well,
just prints
yeah,
kind of going out? And you're like, hey, maybe this could work.
yeah, well, as far as the wrestling stuff goes, it was a kid. Like he really loved John Cena,
Okay.
and they were like, "Oh, could you draw us something?
Yeah.
Could you draw me like John Cena?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh my goodness."
Mm.
Okay, bleeding, bleeding hearts of the world
Yes.
unite. Here we go.
You
And
can't,
so I did it,
cannot do it for a
and
kid.
yeah, and so and then then someone, oh, he drew that for you. Can you draw me this? And I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, I can draw you that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, the wrestling fans are being kind to
Mhm.
me. they were
Yeah.
they were very kind to me. So I was welcomed,
Good.
so to speak.
And yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing about going to a convention is that aspect that
Hmm.
everybody's there for the same reason.
Hmm.
It feels like it's a separate world. You kind of enter it and you can
Hmm.
escape, truly
Right,
escape from real life,
right.
which is kind of the way I like to go about it. And
Hmm.
meeting people. I've got to have some good conversations with you and buy some of your good artwork. That's the thing too. It's always like I don't want to waste your time. I know you appreciate the conversation, but at the same time,
Yeah,
you've
always.
got a business, and that so I've always been
Hmm.
happy to buy some of your artwork and have it displayed in my wrestling room back here. As you
Hmm.
can see, I've got a nice little wrestling room, man cave, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah, I can
what do you
see.
think has been the best? Has there been a big convention you've been to that you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I made it here? Or have you hit that moment yet?
Yes, yes, there has. Actually, the first convention I ever did was my brother and I. It was New York Comic Con.
Oh, wow.
Um,
And
uh,
how do you like? How do you step down from that? Right?
yeah, everything else was like smooth sailing after that because we were at New York Comic Con and all I had was a comic book that we both wrote
Okay.
and I illustrated, and it was a comic book on a table
Hmm.
at
And that
New
was it.
York Comic Con. It was pretty ridiculous, and
Wow.
that kind of gave me the energy to
Hmm.
keep going because I mean I didn't know. I mean I had gone to conventions
Yeah.
before, but it was always like a recon thing. I would
Yeah.
go to conventions to go to workshops to like
Yes.
show my stuff to like artists who were clearly better than me so they could give me pointers.
Yeah.
And I would go to get inspired. I would go to like the panels, especially the ones about law and trademark and copywriting in
Yeah.
the business. I really didn't do the thing with the actors. I didn't meet any actors. I would meet them in passing, but
Yeah. Of course.
I was all about the business side of
Yeah.
things and learning how it works and talking to different artists and they're giving me pointers and where I don't want to end up and they tell me a
Yeah.
lot of horror stories.
That's
you
that's
know,
also good too to know what
yes.
avenues can end. I mean,
Yes.
unfortunately, there is that aspect, but knowing ahead of time, you know
Right.
what direction to go. It sounds like so. Have you
Right.
ever ran into, speaking of law, has there ever been a print that somebody, the person who was being portrayed, was like, "Hey, I don't want that portrayed as I don't want that out there."
Yes,
If you could
yes.
share, I don't know what the
Yeah.
legality of that is,
Um
but
now it was done very professionally.
okay,
This individual,
yeah,
she did not she did not like it.
okay,
But I asked her, well, what would you like?
yeah,
What was a
to
moment
make to
in
make it
your
better,
career?
yeah.
He's like, well, when I did this, that
Oh,
was when
okay,
I was at my happiest
yeah.
in
That's
the
a
business. And I did one based on that, and she liked it. She
Okay.
liked it a
But
lot.
it never
So
got to any, like, lawsuit, it was just more of a
no, I mean the lawsuit stuff,
I
that's
don't
one
know
of
how to
those That's one of those slippery slopes there
Yeah.
because they have to cease you first. You
Okay.
get a cease order,
Yeah.
and if you don't stop, then
Then of
you
course they
know,
can take it next.
yeah, you're
And I would
pretty
think
much
with your
done.
artwork, it's not portraying people in a bad, like it's not defaming them.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
I
you look at
would.
that Cody Rhodes behind you, like if Cody Rhodes saw
Oh,
that, was like, hey, I hate this, like you'd have to wonder because he's a big comic book nerd,
yes,
and
yes,
Star
he
Wars nerd.
is.
So
He
I can't
is.
imagine. And I guess that's the other question: have you had the chance to ever share some of this artwork with wrestlers or with the person? Like, do
Uh,
they come to you, or do you try to pursue them? Like, how does that work?
I mostly it just kind of happens
Or other
organically.
people tag you?
Yeah, yeah, it mostly happens organically.
Yeah. Okay.
Like for example, well, some people I can't say because I don't
Okay.
want to expose
Sorry.
them,
Yeah.
but let me think of someone I can share. Rikishi,
Okay. Yeah.
for example. He's like, "Yo, Oos, when you gonna draw me, man? When you gonna draw me?"
Yeah.
So I did one of Rikishi, and
Mhm.
now he has it at his table,
Yeah.
and he was very grateful. So sometimes they ask me, wrestlers. Sometimes they give me a little bit of heat. Like I see everybody, but I don't see me.
Yeah.
I can't believe you drew this clown, but you didn't draw me. And then sometimes I get the where's my cut? I get that one sometimes, but
I was gonna say that's the thing too. They're not technically they're not really being copyrighted, right? So they can't
right,
get a cut. Like you're doing your
right,
own interpretation of them, so it's not like they have a. I mean, I guess if they really wanted to push to shove, they could somehow,
Y-
but most of the
yeah,
time, it's your own
yeah,
interpretation.
yeah, and the thing is, all I ask is that if they don't like it or if they feel like I've done something unjust,
Yeah,
just let me know before you blast me on the internet because I can. I mean, I feel like I'm easy to work
you
with.
could turn it, you could fix it before.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I've done things with wrestlers and other celebrities where they just want some to have on their table,
yeah, yeah.
or we do a deal
Hmm.
like, oh, I want this and this, I want to have this many on my table. So there's always something to be worked out.
Of course. Yeah.
And most of them, I would say 99% of them have been very gracious.
Hmm.
I mean, the other 1% just don't care. They're like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like you drew me, whoop de doo.
Yeah.
Not everybody's impressed. So
But they're probably at that point in their career where they might already be done with every aspect of it. Like,
that is
they're
very
just like,
true.
I'm moving on from, I do think that's the one thing, not to bring it back to the Squared Circle Expo, but you saw a guy like Sabu, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
man,
Yeah,
I had, he had the little health scare,
yeah, that
and I'm
was
like, I
scary.
feel so bad because he's still going out there because he still needs that extra bit of money, but you also,
Right.
well, I think, or he's doing, but
Hmm.
also you look at him and you're like, you got to take care of yourself, man. Like, to do
Yeah,
this more if you want to, but um,
yeah.
it's and that is the downfall. I always, people talk about the wrestler, the movie, and I'm like,
Hmm.
you know what, that thing is about as close to some of these guys as can be because that
Yeah,
Randy the Ram character, he was out there till the end. I mean,
yeah.
literally. And you see some of these guys, like a Ric Flair. I mean,
Right.
he's going to go out there till he can't. So even appearances, maybe not wrestling, obviously, but
Yeah.
so you're into wrestling as well, right?
Yes, yes, and man, a lot of people
Sorry
try
to
to
backtrack.
test me. No,
Yeah.
it's all right. A lot of people try to test me. They think I'm
Oh yeah.
just doing this, like, oh, okay, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. You're just a leech, right? So they'll try to ask me questions,
Yeah.
or I'm like, no, I'm actually a fan. Like, I am a fan of
I don't
this.
think you would
Like,
do this if you weren't.
No, no, I don't draw stuff that I don't like. I
Yeah.
just don't do it.
Yeah.
Now, when I was in the industry working for some studio, of course, you're gonna
You
draw.
would do stuff that you're not in. Yeah, but that's
Yeah, I
because,
mean, you're
like you
getting
said, that was a
paid.
job.
Right,
You know.
right. Your salary says you're gonna
Yeah.
draw what we ask you
Yes.
or quit.
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of this, and I've always been a fan of it as early as I can remember. of
Did anybody
professional
get in?
wrestling.
Did anybody get you into it, or did you just find yourself into it?
Um, I would say we were watching as kids, me and my brothers.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's see, how do I say this? I don't want to get dark here, but let's just say it's
Was
one
it
of
a tough
the
time?
it was a very tough time. I'll say
Okay.
that. And my father, he had gotten us into wrestling because he liked it
Okay.
when for the short time he was around.
Hmm.
And so from there we got hooked.
Hmm.
And I mean, I met so many wrestlers now. Like it's
Hmm.
weird. It's weird, like, going through my phone, right? And
You
I'm
can
looking at
phone numbers.
wrestlers. Yes, I'm like,
Who would have
this
ever
person,
thunk?
that person. I'm like, no, I watch these people on TV, and now I'm talking to them, and they're asking me to do work, and
Who would
it's
have ever?
interesting.
Yeah.
I
That,
never would have thought, especially coming from how I grew up. You know, I mean, we
yeah.
didn't grow up with a lot of stuff or
Yeah.
opportunities.
Yeah. But
You had
that's
to
the
make
biggest thing.
them.
I think wrestling. Is our escapism from
Hmm.
life.
Yeah,
When you go to a live event, I hate saying it feels like another world, but it really does. You
yeah,
can
it
walk through
does.
those doors. Like, you know, I've had the pleasure. I got my WrestleMania 8 hat on.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
attended WrestleMania 8 when I was 10 years old. I had no
Wow.
recollection of it other than Hulk Hogan, because I was only 10 at the time. But I got the
Hmm.
pleasure of going to 30, WrestleMania 30. I mean, me and my brother were just like, we felt like we weren't, it was like you were in a whole nother world. It's
Right,
like going to Disney World. You're
man.
just not there. And,
Hmm.
that's because that's the biggest thing. Us wrestling fans, we get well, it's fake, it's predetermined, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Oh boy.
I get that. But then they're like, but I want to tell you about Game of Thrones. And I think, that's fake too, man. Like, you want to tell me, at
I
least I
know.
can meet these people. You can't go
Yeah.
out and meet Jon Snow probably very often. You know what it like,
No.
but
I mean, you can meet the actor that plays him
yeah, but you
and
can't meet, and that, I think, that is going into this social media aspect. Like,
hmm.
social media is a blessing and a curse at times, of course, but getting to see wrestlers' real lives, I think, makes me root for them more. Like seeing Cody Rhodes and his wife and his kid, or Kevin
Yeah.
Owens and his kids and family. Like, you're like, I
Yeah.
want to root for them because I know they have that life.
Yeah.
Now, you also think, well, you got the heels playing it up. You're like, oh, they're heel, but so it is an interesting aspect, but it is, I have to defend it, of course, when people are like, well, it's just fake. And I'm like, yeah, you go out there and you go land on your back 5 times in a row and see how you feel.
Yeah. I mean it.
There is, there's a lot of athleticism. There's a lot of
Yeah.
talent, for the most part.
Yeah.
Even the worst wrestler has to have a little bit of talent to make it
Yeah.
somewhere. But it is just funny. So let's see. What is there any wrestler you haven't worked with yet that you're kind of itching to do something for, or are you maybe you haven't drawn yet that you're like,
Well,
okay, I gotta explore this. I know you're also taking a little break from it, but I gotta ask it, because that's what we're doing.
yeah, Brock Lesnar.
Mm.
I would love to draw Brock Lesnar, and I can't believe I haven't. I
I wonder
just
what
don't
his
know.
reaction would be. Do you think he would
Um,
have much of a reaction?
he wouldn't care. I don't think he would
He might ask for
care.
his cut.
Yeah, I don't think he would care, man. He
Yeah.
wouldn't give
No.
two.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't think he would care.
No.
And I'm not saying that he's a jerk or anything,
No.
because
No. No. But
I've never met him. But
he's a
yeah,
whole
he doesn't
different
care.
breed. I mean, he
Yeah,
truly is.
yeah,
He just seems like the type that he's got his wife and kids, and
yeah.
he treats wrestling like a job.
Hmm.
Really a job. Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
show up, punch my clock, punch my card, and
Hmm.
duck out. And
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, if that's what he
Hmm.
wants to do. But he
Yeah.
still puts in. I mean, we just saw that backlash. He puts in
Yes.
110%, and you
Yeah,
saw
with
him
the
last night.
blood
I
all
mean,
over
he
his
had
face.
freaking, he had a bruise here, a bruise under the eye, a bruise there. So,
Yeah.
he let Cody Rhodes dig into him a little bit. So, and I still think back to him and Roman the very first time they fought at
Hmm.
WrestleMania 32 ish or whatever. And I mean, he
Hmm.
was letting Roman dig into him a couple times. So,
Yeah.
he does what's best for the business, as they say. But
Yeah.
that would be an interesting one to see. So, But like you said, you're taking a little break from the wrestling to do some Star Wars. Do you have some big events coming up that you like to plug away for a minute?
Yes, I'm going to be at a Awesome Con in DC.
Okay.
That's in June, but in May I'll be at Baltimore Celeb Fest,
Okay.
which is a wrestling event.
Yeah. Have you had a
And
chance to be there before, or these are kind of
uh,
first times there?
no, this is my fourth time in the Baltimore.
Okay.
Um, Shout out to Chad. He's the guy that runs it,
Okay.
and he takes good care of me and
Good.
everyone else there.
Yeah.
And then Awesome Con in DC. That's my first time ever going to that, so
Have
that'll
to
be
let us know
different.
what that experience is like. Is that big? Is that more of a pop culture event?
Yes, all
Okay.
pop culture.
Okay.
I don't think they have any wrestling guests there.
Okay.
I don't think they have
And
any.
that's why you were working on the Star Wars a little bit more, correct?
Yes, because just like the wrestling, the Star Wars fans have are
They're
calling,
too,
and
right?
they're loud.
Yeah.
They're loud. They're tired of me not drawing. They come to, can you draw me this? You don't draw anything. I had some stuff, but I don't like to keep stuff forever. So if I
Yeah.
draw something and once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
I don't want to
I was
have
gonna say,
stuff
do you
for
ever
like
keep any of your
10 years.
prints, or do you try to sell?
Um,
Do you try to give, go to the last drop?
no, I go to the lab. I don't keep any of them, man.
Okay.
I mean, I give out prints. I give the originals away to the wrestlers if they
Okay.
want them.
Yeah.
I remember Enzo. Enzo was very grateful.
Okay.
He was like, "This is the original, baby."
That's
You
nice.
know, I gave him the original of his. I
Okay.
mean, it's not. I want to share something with them.
I
Like
guess
every
it's
time,
not for you per se.
right? It's like a tribute to them
Yeah.
for entertaining me, risking their lives to entertain me, and they didn't even know they were doing it.
Exactly.
But every time I see Jim Duggan and his wife, I mean, they're so gracious. They just seem, I don't know them like that, but every time I see them, they're so gracious
Yeah.
and very kind, and so grateful that I drew them
Hmm.
because it takes me like 10 plus
Yeah.
hours
Like
to
you.
draw
Yeah.
one of these.
Yeah. You said your process is
Um,
not. Well, and obviously, I mean, like we said, looking behind you,
yeah,
that's
it's
not a hey, I'm going to sit down, and then you pretty much just sit like
no,
I
it's not
mean,
a
our off-air conversation. You said you just kind of sit and you go at it, right? You don't
yes,
really stop or take any breaks from
yes,
it unless you probably really need to. But do you
yes.
ever hit the? I was going to say, what do you do for your? What if you hit those walls of like, okay, I need a break. What do you like to do?
Oh, outside of this, I have a YouTube channel where I go out. It's called It's Nature, y'all.
Okay,
And I go out in nature and I teach people about the nature in Texas.
okay,
We just went filming, my brother and I, out at Enchanted Rock, and it's a huge rattlesnake we filmed out there. And
oh, okay,
yeah, I mean it's an educational thing, but I'm a big nature guy. I have a green thumb, so I got a garden outside. Yeah, that's what I do when I'm not doing
okay.
this.
What part of Texas are you at?
San Antonio.
Okay. What is the
Yep.
that's a pretty that's a bustling art city, right?
Yeah,
Or up
yeah,
and coming.
yeah. Up and coming. I would say
Sorry, that's
Austin.
yeah.
Austin has his
Austin is
beat.
still the sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, Austin has his beat, but we are up and coming.
Like you got a nice river walk there, I've heard.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So
Especially like come during the Christmas time.
okay.
The weather's a lot better, and then
Yeah.
they light up the whole river. It's great.
Yeah. Us Hoosiers here in Indiana, we could have a whole week of all the weathers in 1 week, let me tell you. I
Wow.
think there was a couple weeks ago, it was like 80 one day, and then it dropped to like 40 or 30 the
Oh
next
my,
day.
oh my goodness.
Like that. What's the so just climate wise? Is it pretty steady there? Well, you
Yeah.
probably get really hot. Is it pretty hot, dry
Hu-
summers?
Humidity. The summer is the absolute worst
Yeah,
because it's humidity like 85% to
yeah,
90
yes,
something percent
yeah.
humidity,
That's
plus 103 degrees. The
yeah,
summers are just brutal.
yeah.
I mean, you can't do anything. Like the rivers and stuff be drying up.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a fan of the summer. Right now it's spring and
Yeah,
everything is green and blooming. The only bad thing is I keep doing this because of my allergies. The pollens are in the air,
yeah. Of course.
but it's lovely. It's
Yeah.
lovely.
Have you always lived there in San Antonio?
Most of my life, early
Okay.
part of my life, I lived in Illinois,
Okay. Right
just
next
outside
door.
of, yeah, just outside of Chicago and Heights.
Okay. That's not.
Um,
And Chicago, of course, is its own little, not little,
yeah,
sorry.
yes,
It's its own world. I mean,
yeah, it's yes,
wrestling
yes, it's on world.
wise, just entertainment wise. I
Yeah.
usually joke when I was like big into punk rock concerts. I mean, I felt like I was seeing shows more there than here in Indianapolis.
Mhm.
So that's a downfall. A lot of people like to skip over us. So I was
Yeah.
even joking. My next like 3 concerts scheduled are all out of town because that's
Oh, I
where the
see.
that's where the punk rock artists that I want to go see are playing. But
Right.
yeah,
You,
so
you know, you know, San Antonio, we used to have that problem a lot where big name artists would just skip over us.
yeah,
But I mean, they it got better,
yeah.
because Prince came here like
Oh, okay.
years ago with his
Did
when
you
he.
see him?
Oh yeah, I was there,
Okay.
man. I love Prince.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a
Michael
different guy.
Jackson had passed on before he started touring again. I was looking forward to seeing him, but
Yeah.
I've seen Lady Gaga, Janet Jackson.
Okay.
Heck, I mean, I've seen a lot. I mean, there's still so many on my list that I would
Yeah.
like to see.
And the
I
Jacksons are native Hoosiers, of course.
Yep, yep,
Gary.
that they are.
If you
Yes,
ever
they
get up
are.
to Gary, you could see their hometown house.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
probably the only thing worth seeing in Gary.
Yeah, I need to make my way out that to the Michael Jackson
you're
house.
you're good. I don't think that's worth the road trips. So I mean, you got the
Well,
Alamo, right? So there you
yeah, yeah,
go.
we have the
No
Alamo. We
basement.
we have everything.
No basement in the Alamo.
No, it's not. That's not. That is a myth. There's a lot of bullet holes, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I really appreciate it. You want to plug away, give us where to find you. I've been posting your Twitter, and I found your website. So if you want, I post that in our little our live stream of this. So I got that available. If you want to just give the people one more shout out, and we'll gift you on your way, so you can keep working on your magic, as they say.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Well, the website is actually still under repairs, but it's
Okay.
it's it's halfway functioning.
Okay.
But it is the actual site. It is up, but I
Okay.
just need to
Okay.
figure it all out because I'm doing it on
Yeah.
my own.
Of
But
course.
on social media, you find me under artist AJ Moore, and
Okay.
that's on IG, Facebook, and under Twitter, it's under Goodfit, GUDFIT, which is a company name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you find me. You must put artist AJ Moore. If you do not put the word artist, you'll get every AJ Moore
AJ Moore ever.
but me. You'll get athletes, you'll get
Oh yeah.
musicians,
Yeah.
and
Luckily,
I'm
my last
neither.
name is Adjemy, so there's not many of us.
Adjumant.
So I can kind
Ah,
of, but I do the cheesy Stephen A because why not? So
yes,
I
yeah.
guess I
I
should.
mean,
I probably should start putting my last name, shouldn't I? That'd be more branded for me now that I think about it.
yeah. I mean, Stephen A. I mean, when I first saw it, I kind of laughed. I'm like, Stephen A.
Yeah, yeah. I always like to say I'm the better Stephen A. I don't yell at you, so there
You
you
don't
go.
yell.
I
You don't
provide good
start
debate.
yelling.
I know I provide good debate without having to yell about the Cowboys. So there you go.
Oh my! Well, make fun of the Cowboys with his hat on and the
Yeah.
cigar, and he's
Um,
such a character.
I mean,
Oh
why
man,
why he's not a wrestler yet? I don't know.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
can you
He
imagine
would
him?
be a good manager.
Oh, can
Like
you? Yes.
Jimmy Hart style.
Yes.
He
I think he
would
could get
be.
Paul Heyman to run for his money if he really
Yeah,
wanted to.
yeah. He would.
So,
Yeah, Stephen A. would do
or
good in
Bobby the
that.
Brain. He'd be those old
Oh,
school. I could see him doing the old school,
oh
like
yeah,
getting you with some zingers, but also knowing where to hit. So
yeah.
uh,
Running away and trying to hide from the
there we
faces.
go, Stephen A. Smith. We're vouching for you. You need to make your way. There was talk
Yeah,
that he was going to be involved with WrestleMania, but he really never did. I don't know if the timing, or
yeah.
whatever availability, but I'm sure if it's back in Dallas,
Yeah,
yeah,
Stephen A
probably
is he's so busy, man.
he will.
Like they
Oh,
would,
I'm sure.
yeah, he's like he's always busy because when he's not on the show, like he's doing
Oh,
his own personal
oh yes.
show.
Well, that's
Like,
yeah, that's all those ESPN guys
yeah,
like. Now, my doubt, not to get too sidetracked, we're kind of already ending it anyway, but I will say, I don't know if you listen to a lot of ESPN radio. A lot of
mhm.
these guys do not show on their own shows though. Like I try to listen to
No, they
ESPN
don't.
Greeny, Mike Greenberg, and I swear every other day it's like different hosts, and I'm like, Man, I wish I had your vacation time or something
I
because
know.
shoot, I'm lucky to get a day off from my work just because I'm sick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. That's the thing about art. Like, I have to do it.
yeah,
No
yeah.
one can never fill in for me.
Yeah, yeah. You
So,
can't
like,
you can't send a bot you can't send your doppelganger in. Does your
right.
brother look like
That
you? You
was
can send him in.
no, he doesn't draw. He doesn't draw at all.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Well, I mean,
handles
he
the
could send
camera.
it. He could just shell out the merch.
Yes, that was the great thing about working in the animation industry.
Yeah,
Like, as an animator, if I was doing the keyframes or whatever, I
yeah,
could pass it off to another artist
true.
and they continue. Or if you're working on comic books, because I've
Yeah,
done that,
yeah,
and I pass it off to the next guy that's going to do the coloring, or they're passing it to me to do the inking.
yeah.
There's another artist that could, but when it's your own creative expression, you have to do it. Else it's someone
No
else's
days
work.
off.
No, but
Yeah.
when you watch anything animated, like, it probably 100 artists worked on that, but it looks seamless.
Oh yeah.
You don't know who passed it, Bugs Bunny off to this person, that
Oh yeah.
person. It could be 20 different people.
But that's also the best
You
thing
know?
about your job is
Mhm.
this is you.
Right.
This is nobody else. This is your passion, your life, your livelihood. So I
Mhm.
think that's really awesome, and that's why I've been so kind of happy to connect with you because I can just tell how much this means to you.
Yeah.
I think that's why we formed a good connection through these two
Yeah.
expos, just because you could tell I'm passionate about wrestling in my own end, and then you're passionate about that and wrestling, and that's pretty
Mhm.
cool. So I'm so glad you were able to give me the short time you did. Like I said, I don't want to take away too much time because 10 hours of your day is is in the
Yeah.
trenches, as they
The
say. So
bags under my eyes, oh
yeah,
boy.
you're all good. You're far away. We don't see it. So that's why I got a hat on. I got bad bed head today. So
Oh boy.
yeah. So I appreciate it so much. Thank you for coming on. We'll end it there, and we'll have you back on maybe later on this year and kind of see what you've been up to, if that's okay.
All right, right on, Steve.
All right. Well, let's end it right here, and then we will talk to you guys on Saturday and get caught up on all the latest in AEW and WWE.